together and have me come up and speak. I was pretty excited to speak at the clinic before it, obviously all this stuff happened. So happy that I'm able to get on here today. Obviously, Maine high school football means a lot to me. It was, my foundation, gave me my upbringing, my start in football. So it was always nice to be able to get back and talk with some Maine guys. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to just go through our base quick game stuff, and then if we have some time at the end, I can go through RPOs. If you have any questions, obviously feel free to ask, and then at the end, I'll give you guys my contact information. So if you have any questions that you want to reach out afterwards, you can do that as well. For us, honestly, we keep it very, very simple. We have about 4 or 5 base concepts that we run over and over and over again, and then we'll mix in a couple of things. We kind of divide our quick game 2x2 and 3x1, and really all of our pass games divide that way. But as far as just speaking about quick game, we begin with 2x2. We're going to mirror concepts. So all of our quick game concepts are named after girls. So Heather, Holly, Jess, Sally, Sarah, etc. And whatever we're doing on the front side, we're doing on the back side. Now, we can split it up. So if I were to just call up Holly, both sides are going to be running all hitches. Now, we have the ability with that to dual tag it. And most of the time, that's what we do. So it's very rare that we'll just look out there and call, formation, then Holly, and then line up and all run hitches. Usually we'll run hitches to the boundary, slants to the field, or we'll run our most common one is just where we run a vertical and out, like the Ohio concept, to the boundary, and then slants to the field. And that's just in case we're getting different coverages, we can have a couple of options. But the way that we call it, it works weak to strong. So if we're in a 2x2 set, our Z is our strength, X is to the weak side. So if I go Jess Sally, then we're going to have Jess with the X and the Y into the boundary, and then the Z and the S note, they're running Sally. So just to give you a look real quick here. All right, this is kind of what our, how do I do this here? This is our base quick game. So these are the 5 plays that we run the most and we'll mix in. So typically what we like to work weak to strong with is Jess, Sally. Another one that we go is Holly, Heather. Just going through each play. So with Holly, with our all hitch concept, it's very common, if you get pressed up, you tell guys outside, we're going to release vertical and run off and run a jet. But what we found was what we call a hat route, or a 9-yard. It's basically a 9-yard hitch route. It gets us open, and it's that in-between place, because DB's they're opening, running after you get past 5 yards and thinking it's vertical. So that in-between stop, turn around, and you can be physical if you need to. That seems to be a quick throw for us. So we just call that a hat on the outside, and that's at 9 yards. And then the inside guys, they're not allowed to convert that. So that rule goes for all hitches that we run in our offense. So if you ever have a hitch and you're an outside guy, then you're going to convert to a 9-yard hat route. And it's been pretty successful for us. I'll go through the technique on that in a second when we get to, I got some practice tape to show you guys. The next one, Heather. Okay, we got hitches on the outside there. And then we have 2 high corner, 1 high. You're going to run a corner read or a big box fade. Basically, we tell the guys to keep their eyes. If there's a safety head up over you, then you're going to run a corner. If that guy rolls or there's nobody over there, then just run a big box fade. And when in doubt, run a corner so you have that smash route and the quarterback will make you right. Sarah for us, slant slide, typical route there. One thing that we do a little bit differently with our receivers is we have their outside foot up. So it's a 2-step slant, so it happens a little bit quicker. There's a number of reasons for that. The main one was because we we're having trouble seeing the football. So if you're with your outside foot up, you can look in a little bit easier and see the snap. And the other one just being because a lot of the times we're being pressed up outside, and it helps them with their releases. So, but 2-step slant on the outside, and then you're just working straight on a straight line. We tell them guys 3 yards at the bottom of the numbers with the shoot route. Sally, this is probably our number one quick game concept. It's just double slants. If we go 3-by-1 with Sally, we'll go triple slants. We have what's called a pause route on the outside. So what we're telling that guy is if you get bail coverage, just stay out there. So that'll turn into a hitch. If you have anybody within, 2 or 3 yards of you, you feel like someone's going to attach, then when you get to the top of that, you can hitch it up and then bring it in. So it's more of a, like slower slant route. And if you're getting pressed up from the line of scrimmage, then it's just going to turn into an automatic slant. So that's the only little adjustment there that we do with that. Our inside slants, we tell those guys you're not going to get the football unless it's inside pressure. So get inside for 3 steps and then push vertical to wall the mic. Our guys have been pretty successful getting the feel for that. That takes some work, but guys get that pretty quickly. And then our Ohio concept, it's just outside foot up. We're 3 steps and we're rolling out of that. If we get man coverage on the outs, then we're going to hard cut it to make sure that we create that separation and we're not getting undercut on a rollout work. I always tell the guys on outs to keep their head in dry face or head down for 3 steps out. A lot of coaches will talk about how, you want to get to the top, whip your head around. That's fine. I found more for us is when we get our head around like that, we tend to drift. So if we keep our head in dry face for a couple steps out the cut, then that tends to have us working back more quarterback friendly with the football. Outside on those goes, it's mandatory outside release. I tell those guys, it's a health of the team route. The only way you're going to get that football is if that guy falls down, you beat him really clean, or if we're getting cover 2, and then you can settle it with the caution. How do I get out of this now? Here we go. I'm getting stuck. I'm trying to share my screen again. All right. Here we go. Okay. Our 3-by-1 pass game, we tell the X basically backside you're going to have a slant. So our entire pass game is set up on the notion 3-by-1 that we're going to work strong and we're going to get strong rotation or some sort of quarters with a backside safety spy number 3. So our whole philosophy is, look, we're going to get one-on-one coverage backside with the X anyway, so we're just going to give him routes to win. So any of our 3-by-1 concepts, the X has a slant backside, unless, and I always tell the guys, there's always an exception to every rule. Actually got that from Weissy. But so there's always an exception to every rule, but for the most part, any of our 3-by-1 quick game stuff, we're going to be running a slant on the backside. Front side, the concept just varies. So Jess is, our jet with our out. So Jen is our 3-by-1 kind of version of this. And everybody, has seen this route. It's your basic stick concept. Mandatory outside release with the Z. Again, that's a 3 steps out with the S, and then the stick route with the Y. So the only real kind of coaching point we talked about with the Y.
Thing that I did for main football, it's just hard climbs.
The only thing that we really do differently here with the Y is we tell that guy, when you're coming off the line of scrimmage, you have to look at that mic and ID what he's doing. If he's sprinting out, then you're going to hard cut and turn out. If he's just kind of sitting there, then you're going to pop, turn around, and just stay what I always say, quiet at the top of your route. So just sit in that hole, okay? And then obviously we need to make sure that we're aligned correctly here to make sure we get separation. So our base alignment rules for any of our Z is numbers -2, our S is #+2, and then the Y splits the difference. With our offense, we always tell the guys, hey, look, the S has to get everybody lined up. He's going to be the smartest guy in the group. So we kind of make sure spacing set that way. Backside with the X, your slant. Again, it's an automatic slant, 45-degree cut. If you get pressed up or you get some sort of catch coverage, you're allowed to flatten that thing to win. And so I tell those guys, even if you have to come back negative and turn it into an in route, I don't really care. Just flatten that thing off enough to win. Okay. So Gen is really our number one 3x1 concept. Our quarterbacks have they're able to see it really well. We can also work it into our RPO game. It's just been very, very good for us. I think we hit it on like 70. I think we were 70% on that success rate or something. It was our top quick game concept for sure. That combined with switch gen, which I'll explain next. So if we ever want guys to switch routes, switch tells the outside guys to switch routes, and swap tells the two inside guys to switch routes. So our second play that was worked with gen is just switch gen. So switch gen, obviously, with the Z being so far outside, you're going to run out of room there. So I tell those guys, you want to end up in the same spot that you would if you were playing S and running it out. So we just call that a tick route. It's just a wide departure hitch. I give the guys the baseline at the bottom of the numbers and tell them to hitch it up and stay out there. The S is got his big box fade, so that's mandatory outside release. I don't necessarily give him a dead set landmark. I say you want to end up, you never want to drift below the numbers. You want to stay at the top of the numbers, and you want to catch the ball at about 22 yards downfield. So that's kind of what those guys are looking for, 18 to 22 yards at the top of the numbers. And then it's the same exact thing for the Y. I'll go through the reads here when I show you the tape, but backside Z, it's, slant. Slant. Okay, so this is our second or third most successful 3x1 concept. And it's the last one that I'm going to kind of go through. These are our 3x1 quick game concepts that we run over and over and over again. Now, this one is, like I always tell my guys, there's, a bastard in every family. This one's the bastard because it really is it's a drop back and a quick game all in one. So Casey tells our guys outside that the S and the Z, okay, are mandatory hitches. So they got Holly out there. If the quarterback looks out there and he wants to signal another 2x2 concept, he can. So he's, Sally, Jess, Heather, Holly, Scarlett. He can signal anything that he wants based on the coverage. And then once the ball snapped, he is going to work the side that he thinks is most, going to be most effective. So typically with this, we will throw the quick game stuff, especially on early downs is one that we like to call a lot because we typically get bail coverage to the field. And we tell the guys, hey, look, if you're getting bail coverage, if it's free, take it. When we work Casey is more if we get a lot of the cover 2, cover 6 cloud into the boundary and we're just trying to mess with that will. That's really when we'll work that. So I would say more often we're throwing the hitches, the slants, the stuff to the field that way. Okay, so the next most important thing in our quick game is just that you rep the hell out of it. So again, we keep it very simple. And then, we rep the hell out of it. The way that we install our pass game here and practice our pass game here is very similar to the way that I've done it for a number of years. So we did this at UCLA, and then when I was at Northview High School in Atlanta, we did the same thing, and now we continue to do it here. And really, it's just a philosophy of quick game is all about timing. And, you want to make sure that you're not getting too deep and, you have a great feel and you're a master of running these routes. So one thing I tell the receivers all the time is, hey, look, you're not like, I don't want to see you doing head fakes. I don't want to see you, dropping your shoulders, trying to be some sort of like, Twitter versus wide receiver when you're running quick game routes because it doesn't really matter. what gets you open in quick game is your vertical push. So shoulders down and then have an abrupt change of direction. So put your foot in the ground and change. So circle drill here is where we'll do our individual drills, but circle drill we work every day. I'm talking about we run circle drill every single day. So once we're done with our first team period and we split up, we'll do an individual period. I get like 5-10 minutes with the wideouts on our own, and then we get with the quarterbacks and we run circle drill. So right here, all we're gonna do is usually, Coach Gardner takes one side, I take the other side, and I just tell those guys, hey, oh, this is not circle drill, this is not on there. Let's see here, see if I can find it. Oh, maybe it is circle drill. Either way, what routes on air and circle drill are pretty similar. Basically, circle drill is just we're going to run through our entire progression of quick game routes. So hitches, outs, slants on the outside guys, and then we'll work big buck fades, corners, and sometimes comebacks with this. And we just tell the quarterbacks, sometimes I would say to start, give the quarterbacks the route you want to run. So when I was at Northview, it was always, hey, we're going to run all hitches. And then we're going to turn it around the other side and run all hitches back, and then all slants, then all outs, then all, so it's however you want to do that. If you have a quarterback that you feel like has a pretty good feel for things, and you can have them signal out the routes. But all we're going to do here is we're going to just run routes. Yeah, this is routes on there. We're just going to run routes down and back. Let me see if I can find one for you. I apologize. I had my our film on my computer at work through LogMeIn, and then it all shut down today, and I don't know why. See if I can find it here. It's the same one. All right, this looks more like it. All right, there it is. So if we take a look here at the bottom of the screen, number 8 here, Troy, this is how we run our hitches.
Coach, we can't see your screen.
Oh, I'm sorry, hold up. All right, let's see. Can you see that now?
Yeah, we got you now, Coach. Thank you.
All right, cool. Thank you. All right, so if you take a look down here, just move this thing out of the way. At the bottom of the screen here, number 8. Okay, this is how we're going to run our hitches. All right. Oh, now I've got myself blocked here. Okay. So we tell those guys 2 steps, and then it's a 4-step slant at the top. They're just going to drop their weight and just pop open, pivot open. All right, and the quarterback really should be catching the football here. 1, 2, bucket step, let that thing rip. It should be on his outside shoulder when he gets there. The reason being, again, when I first got to Sacred Heart, I was dead set on a 3 big, 2 little, pound it down, sudden change, and I was watching some of the Syracuse stuff, and those guys just pop open, and the ball seems to be there. It seems to be more of a natural catch and go. So that's the way that we did it this year, and it worked really well for us. And I just tell those guys, hey, boom, pop open, stay quiet at the top of your route, meaning don't drift and bounce around. Just stay there and give the quarterback your hand, and the timing should be good. Catch the ball with your eyes. You see that all the time. I tell the guys, your hands are just tools. All right, and then we're going to spin outside. Now, I'll tell the guys, I'm not going to coach you on how to run the football once you catch it. If you do spin outside, your next move better be outside. Okay, pop open, quiet at the top, turn outside. Okay, and the biggest thing here is just making sure that those guys keep their head down until the last second. You don't need to look in. We don't want to have tractor trailer where we're turning our head back in. Just pop, keep your head down, pop open, vertical push. Okay, Film's jumping around me a little bit here, but as you can see, work one side down, flip it, work the other side back. And again, you just want to work in the different routes that you want to run. Again, we'll run a hitch, a slant, an out, a vertical every single day. Okay, again, with these out cuts, I always tell the guys, this isn't a good example over here. See how he's playing outside his frame? You really want to keep that foot underneath him, but just drop your weight and roll out. It doesn't have to be some sort of hard, herky-jerky, set the defender. Again, your vertical push is going to get you open. That's a good job right there. Just drop your weight and roll out of it. Okay, work back towards the football. Right there, when you step outside your frame, that's what happens. Keep your foot underneath you, just drop your weight. Pretty good job there, keeping his head down. See right there, he looked back too soon. See how he starts drifting at the top of that route? That's why I tell those guys to keep their head down a little bit longer. You want to work back towards the line of scrimmage so you don't get undercut. All the work you just did with your vertical push is null and void if you start drifting at the top. Slants, as you can see, number 8 is probably our best route runner. He's pretty good at all this stuff. You can see, okay, see how he keeps his shoulders vertical the whole time? I tell those guys, make eye contact with the defender. Your vertical push is what's going to get you open, okay? And then flatten the wind. So right here, he's good. He's getting off coverage. Okay, catch with your eyes, get vertical. That's not bad. This kid had a really hard time. He was a big time head faker and a Twitter receiver. So I told him, this was a habit that he had to work through, and he got better at it. But it doesn't really matter. All that stuff just slows you down. You just want to boom, get out your cut. All right, so like I said, we'll go through that and run every single, route that we have, and then we'll come back and we work towards routes on air. So routes on air is the next thing that we do. So we'll do our circle drill. It takes about 5 minutes for us to go through. We usually get down, back, and maybe down one more time in 5 minutes, but it's typically just those two. And then we'll give them, minute or so on water, and then we work routes on air. So routes on air is more of the combinations of the routes together, so they get a feel for, working those and running those next to someone. So we'll set them up in a formation and just run. This looks like some drop back concepts, but we'll run our quick game concepts out of here, drop back concepts, and again, just having them get a feel for running routes with people together so they can get a feel for spacing, and we can teach off that. So I try to be, typically I work with the X's down there because again, our whole 3x1 stuff is based on winning one-on-one. So I'll just kind of beat them up down there. But again, it's another opportunity for your quarterbacks to start feeling the spacing of the routes, seeing them run where they should be, and just getting the ball out of your hands. And then the same thing like for the receivers, just to be able to feel where they should be in proximity. I'm gonna find a quick here. No, this is just tight ends. All right, you get the idea there. So that really for us is where we do most of our practice comes from those two drills right there. So we go circle drill about 5 minutes, get some water, come back, do routes on air for another 5-10 minutes, and then we get into our team stuff. So you know, just keeping it simple and repping things and making sure that you're out there constantly communicating with guys exactly what you want, and then being, you know, same page with the quarterbacks and all that stuff. And I go over and over with the guys is, if you do nothing else with your routes, get to your depth and catch the football. If you're too deep, it's a miss. If you're too short, it's a miss. The quarterback's got to know, because with quick game, it's all timing. All right, so we'll watch some. We'll go through the quick game stuff here now on film. See how I have this organized. Okay, so all right, we'll start here. So let me see here. I think I can reach here. Okay, so right here, we got, let's see what we have here for a play. Heather Hawley. So all right. You can see right here, again, down at the bottom of the screen here, again, he's just going to work to his depth and then pop open. Heather would be our concept where this look right here with this too high look, we got our hitch corner. Now, because we're getting this quarters look, we got Hawley over here. Really, we're ideally going to work the boundary because it's a shorter throw. So we're going to tell Marquez, hey, look, put your eyes in that corner. If he bails, let it rip to 16. If he drives the underneath route, and throw it over the top. If he really wants to, he can take the hitches to the field, because we still are getting off coverage with the Z. That Sam might get in that window here of number 2, but he can still throw this thing if he wants out here. But where we're getting off coverage on both sides, just take the shorter throw. Okay, you just see the footwork by the quarterback. We're just going to step, throw. This kid Marquez has gotten a lot better at this too. He's an unbelievably talented quarterback, and he's going to be one of the best players in our league for the next 3 years. But you can see how he's got that high arching throw. It took him a while to break the habit of like almost having a wind up here. Gets the ball out pretty quick now. Okay, Heather Sally. So again, we have our hitch corner concept up here into the boundary. Then we have our slants out here. Okay, well, looking at it here, we can take this. It's a little bit tight. So if our quarterback wants to throw the Sally route out here, Logan, this cat had a big time arm. I'm talking about like he might sign with somebody. He's pretty good. He transferred late from Temple, so he would throw this thing outside a lot. See, we're getting a little bit, our coverage a little bit softer out here. So if he wants to take that throw, he can take it. Otherwise, he can work that high-low concept into the boundary. He gets pressure, so he knows the boundary's probably dead. Boom, throw it out to the field. Okay, and this is what I was talking about earlier. I want those guys catch it. You know, you want to I always tell those guys, get outside, because there's so many people out here in pursuit. We want to make sure that we're getting the sideline. But I tell them, hey, look, if you're going to go in, just get back out next. And this kid was a pretty fast, pretty strong kid as well. So he kind of knew better than to try and cut back a million times. Okay. Now we got Hawley Sally. Okay, again, Z, X, we're working weak to strong. So we got our hitches into the boundary here. Slants to the field. Okay, this is pre-snap is super easy for the quarterback. Now he looks out here. If we're getting 8 yards of separation, we're going to throw that hitch every single time. Every time that you get a boundary, you have a boundary hitch or a boundary quick route, and that guy's playing off, just tell your quarterback to throw it out there. Now, if you're getting, these issues where you have overhangs that you're worried about getting underneath the windows, then that's when we'll run Sally, really get him to clear it out. I just tell those guys, the inside receiver, hey, cross the face. Again, it's a help the team route. You're not getting the football unless that guy blitzes. But this is just, it's stealing when they give you that much room out there. And we'll get this type of coverage pretty frequently on first and second down. We run the shit out of the ball. So teams try to bring those safeties up in the box, and there's no protection out there. So we'll just take it, hey, look, quarterback, if you see it, he's got the ability to signal it, but we'll say, hey, look, just put Holly in there. When in doubt, throw it out. So based off pre-snap indicators right here, if he looks out there, it's pressed up, he looks down here, we get off coverage, and then we already know where we're going with the football. Okay, don't let your receivers do this. This is what I talk about, not being quiet at the top of your route. Now, Logan misses a little bit here, so it leads it back inside, but I hate drifting here. This could have been a lot worse. This kid was an All-American, so he got away with it. But all right, Heather Holly again, this time our tight ends in line. So again, he looks out. I just tell those guys, if you have somebody standing over you, run a corner. If not, run a big box fade. It's the easiest way. You can go however you feel comfortable teaching it, whether you go one high, two high, middle field open, middle field closed. I just found it easier to look out and say, hey, look, if there's a guy over you, chances are it's too high, run a corner. If not, okay, or if he goes away, then it's going to be one high, run a big box fade. And they blitzed the corner here. We had an adjustment. This was something that they did quite a bit. So if they blitz, we just call it a caution route. And basically the X has the ability to just yell cat, and then he just drifts back enough for the quarterback to get that throw up over the corner, and we're just going to take it. So that was the game adjustment. Okay, this is another one very common for us. Okay, Jess Sally, we got the mandatory outside release here. All right, we have our out, slant, pause. Now, where we're pressed up here, he's going to run that hard slant because we're getting press coverage. I tell them when in doubt, or if they're playing press bail, you're not quite sure, just keep the slant on. But looking out here, okay, the quarterback sees, okay, this Will's tucked inside. He's pre-snap, he's thinking he's going to throw it here. All right, so that's why it's so important that even whether we're getting press, whether we're getting bail, no matter what we're getting out here, that's got to be a mandatory outside release so that we can protect it. This Will's tucked in, we know we're going with the football, okay? Protect it. Now, see him, he does a good job here working back towards the football. That's why I want to work negative so it can't get undercut. Also, if the safety is driving it, he drifts into that. When he turns around, he's going to get ear hole. So this, boom, just catch it. We'll take 5 yards on the start of the play. That might have been our most successful play all night against these guys. They're pretty good. All right. Sally A shoot. This is our, without question, our number one goal line. Hopefully Ron DeGravio is not here, but our number one goal line or our number one short yardage play. Okay, at Bates we used to call it Irish. It's just 3 slants, and then we can run it 2 slants outside and then slide. We'd call that Sabrina, or this one we call Sally A shoot. We're gonna get 3 slants and then we drift the running back out. Now, if you're getting a lot of pressed up coverage or they want to take something away, or if your running back happens to be the best player in your offense, okay, if I tell the guys, if you see A shoot, if you see the signal for A shoot, okay, you're not getting the football. Now, the only person who has a chance of getting this football is the Z, so I always tell the guys, hey, run routes like as if you're going to get it just in case you do. But we're trying to pick guys. So you have to cross the face, and you're really trying to work through the inside shoulder of the first defender inside of you. Okay, so he's trying to work through his inside shoulder. His outside shoulder. He's trying to work through his outside shoulder. He's trying to work through his outside shoulder. So with Sally A shoot, you are not allowed to go and try and avoid the contact. You want to run right through his outside shoulder and make sure that he goes over the top and not underneath. Okay. And as you can see, again, that's here we get lucky because they're blitzing, so it makes the read easy. But the quarterback is basically just looking out here. The Z, if he gets bail or he has off coverage here, then he can throw that thing out there. Other than that, he's working down here. If he likes to match up one-on-one backside, he can work that. But really all we're trying to do is get a pick on this Mike, and that's a lot of bodies for him to run through to try and guard this running back. The other thing that you can do is if when we were at Bates, sometimes we'd have a hard time with guys being able to turn all the way around and catch it and kind of keep their balance. The other thing you can do with it is you can flare them out. It's still a lot of the flare. It's still really hard for that Mike to get out. It's not as effective because the running back's not working towards the line of scrimmage, but it's still stuff for guys to get looks at. I would say that if you feel more comfortable with the flare route, you can use that. And here, just so we all know what I'm talking about when I say flare. So we run it with our, what we call the arrow route, okay? You could also run it with just flaring this back out here, all right? If you're gonna do that, in my opinion, I would have the quarterback, reading this guy right here. So if we're getting off coverage, we're gonna go Z to here, just because I feel like they can see that a little bit faster than when he's running down at them. Obviously, if it's man coverage, doesn't matter either way, but that would be an adjustment that you could make based on the ability of that guy there. Okay, so I'm not sure if Logan's I'm not sure exactly what he does in this play, but what we'll tell the guys here on Sally A shoot. So obviously it's our number one play, short yards goal line. I said that. So if you see here that the Mike linebacker is creeped outside the D end here, so it's like they almost kind of know it's coming here. So if you see that, then we'll tell the quarterback, hey, work backside, because chances are he's going to be able to work through all that. And he's so far and tight that there's no way number 3 is going to be able to rub that guy. Now he should still be working to rub that guy because obviously the whole point is picking him for the back. But we tell the guy, all right, if that Mike is that far out, either change the play or work backside. Yeah, Logan does. It's pretty smart. Okay, let's go through our gen stuff now. Okay, so that's pretty much the meat of our 2x2 pass game. I know the last part was 3x1. You can run Sally A shoot 2x2 as well, and we have before. It's the same idea. You're just really trying to get a pick for the back. The other thing that you can do is that we'll do quite a bit is we'll run Sally A shoot the field, and then in a 2-back set, run a slant flare combination to the boundary. Just again, if you think you're getting man coverage, you're pretty dead set, you're getting man coverage. You look out there, oh shit, it's zone coverage. Well, now, the slant flare to the boundary gives you a little outlet. So it's just different ways to build those things in. And really, you customize it to the things that you do. Next year, we might do that quite a bit more because we have, I mean, we're blessed. Both of our running backs coming back next year are All-Americans. So obviously you want to get them the ball. But, you know, just you can build it however you want to that way. Going back to our 3x1 concepts, like I said, it's really Jen, switch Jen and Casey. Jen for us again here is stick, out, vertical, okay, slant backside. Now again, number 3 here is going to keep his eyes on the mic. If he's screaming out, okay, then we're screaming out. Otherwise, he's just going to sit right down that hole. And we're really just trying to stretch this guy right here. Our quarterbacks see this really, really well. So like we said, all we're going to do is we're going to catch the football. Boom. Our eyes are going right to that Sam linebacker. Okay. If he pushes out with the out route, then we're going to take the snag route. If he sits, we'll take the out route. And the only time he's really going to throw this right here is if we get cover 2. Okay. And chances are, if we get cover 2, he's probably going to work something backside with, or he'll change the play. Again, just and this kid right here, Nassim, has a really good feel for like playing wide receiver. He's not the fastest cat, but again, you just want to find that window there. And again, when I first got here, I was overly coached it and, you know, gave these guys a little, it's like, look, man, put your eyes on the mic to let you know if you're going in or out. Everything else is based off the other routes, and just sit down, okay? Just sit in the hole, kind of have a feel for it. Again, it's just it's a simple read for the quarterback. Just get your eyes out there. Boom. You see the Sam, okay, he takes the out. Boom, just gonna stick that thing on number 3. All right, here. So if we run it from a nub set, just the one change up here, forgot about. Anytime we run a nub set, the tight end's always got an out and quick game, and he's always got a corner on drop back. And that's just to occupy the corner, and if it's drop back, to make sure we get the safety out of there. Okay, with the middle of the field, it's a little bit tricky here because it's really a tight throw. The quarterback's got to get that thing out quick. So we typically like to run it from the hash. But again, you see here, Nate does a pretty good job here, getting vertical. Okay, he sees the mic not pushing out too fast, and he just kind of drifts out. Now see him bounce out a little bit to kind of keep this Sam occupied. He decides to take that one and kind of keep him out of that window. But this is the other reason why we run with our outs. Again, you want to work negative. If Nas starts drifting back this way, that's an undercut waiting to happen in a boomerang, right? Because he works back negative, he can protect the throw from the quarterback. And again, all we're trying to get is just, you know, 3-4 yards, and we're just going to take the quick 3-4 yards. And if we get anything more out of that, it's just gravy. One other thing to know, if my guys ever inside release on verticals, then I'll sit them down on the bench because they have to protect that throw. That's the one thing that can really blow that thing up is if they turn around, boom, to catch that out, and all of a sudden that corner's there, you know, that's going to be on them. So you really got to emphasize, hey, mandatory outside release means mandatory outside release. There are no exceptions. Now, some of my like once the receivers get that and they follow the rules, then you can say, okay, well, if we're getting some sort of, you know, cover 2 or they're showing it late and you have to inside and then go back out, then we'll work it that way. But that's like maybe 1 or 2 receivers in our whole program are allowed to do that. They really got to understand why they got to go outside. And if they don't understand why, then just make sure that they're doing it. Okay, right here, again, the mic attaches, so we're going to work out quicker. Boom, boom. Again, working negative. You want to make sure you're always working back to the football. Okay, now switch gen. So typically switch gen, we like it a lot for if we're getting teams that are playing 3-roll strong, which, rolling the Sam linebacker down and then rolling him back to the field. Because typically when they do that, you're going to get a soft or a bail corner. If we feel like we're getting that, well, in general, this is what we tell the quarterback. Hey, put your eyes. If we get switch gen, you're putting your eyes on the corner. Okay. If the corner bails back, then we're just gonna take this tick route. Okay. If he sits on the tick route, then you're just gonna take the big box fade. Okay. So we can run this against quarters as well. It's not as good. Typically, we want a one high look to run this, whether it's man cover 3, because we want to create a one-on-one matchup for him or take the easy throw. The other thing we tell the quarterbacks with this is, okay, if he bails, throw it underneath, right? If he drives the route, throw it to the big box fade. The other thing we say is if the mic is tucked way inside here, just throw the stick route. It's easy. So right here, the mic's walked, so it's probably dead anyway. So right here, he's probably just going to read the corner. Yep, take the easy one. Now, again, this kid had a big-time arm. So this is a super far throw. This year, we're going to cut our receiver split. So our receivers, our Zs were all the way to the top of the numbers last year. This year will be numbers -2 and numbers -3 if we really need to. You can tighten this route down as much as you want to with this concept because it's a wide departure hitch anyway, and he's taking 2 for 1 if they decide to guard him regardless, because you're going to have the safety or the nickel Sam running with him and the corner if he decides to take him. This is regular gen. This is yeah. So again, with all of our 3-by-1 concepts, if you feel comfortable that your quarterback has a good understanding for boundary coverages or just like football in general, then we give them the ability to signal things out. So again, we had a lot of off coverage from Lafayette, so we were like, hey, look, if you like something back there, signal it. So he was given routes to Tyrese all game, and we just taking them. Now, you just have to be careful, again, with overhang players. They're in that window for the quick game. So just make sure that they really have a good understanding for what's going on here. Now, Tyrese, this is an awful out route, getting rewarded for bad behavior. But again, you can see if you're getting off coverage to the boundary, there's really no easier throw in the world than quick game to off coverage into the boundary, stealing. Again, taking 2 for 1, that corner bails, boom, just take that easy throw, take 5 yards and go. Oh, back to the header hole you see here. Okay, so that's gen and switch gen. Okay. So last quick game concept is, like I told you, I said before, the bastard in the family. It's Casey. So again, we got a dig, an OTB, and then base rule is hitches out here. So they're going to run hitches unless the quarterback signals out something else. Okay, again, so we're getting cover 2 here. So it's cover 6. So you see how we're getting, we have a squat corner to the boundary. The safety's pushing off the hash. Logan sees that, okay, pre-snap, he sees him pushing off the half. He knows we have cover 2 back here. So if we get cover 2, we want to work this side because he now is in a real bind, okay? So he has to work inside. He's working all the way to 12, running a dig. We have the OTB coming, sit down over the ball, and then we have the back flaring out. So if he takes the back, he's wrong, so we're going to throw it here. If he sits, he's wrong, because we're going to throw it here. And if he drives up, he's wrong, because now we have the dig coming in. So he drifts out with the back. Boom, Logan sees that. Easy throw to the tight end. Catch, get vertical. And it's good thing you need to work the field because I have no idea what my guys are doing out there. I don't think they know. Okay. He's wrong. Pre-snap, this tells us we got cover 2 into the boundary. We got a corner outside. Leverage turned in. So everything pre-snap here tells us we should be working here. Okay. So that's the first part that he's wrong. Now he's given us, giving the guys Sally out here, which means we got a pause and we got a slant route. Okay. So if he is going to work this side of the field, all he's looking at is this guy right here. If he bails out, I'm going to throw it. The only way he's going to throw an inside slant is to replace pressure, okay? Since we're not getting pressure here, he's leading our receiver to stray, okay? And he's not protecting him. So we never throw, the only time we're ever going to throw an inside slant is if we get inside pressure. So he's wrong on a number of levels here. Right here, we should be working the boundary, just flipping that out to the back and letting him work one-on-one with the corner. Instead, we got Nas, who's it was hard for me to yell at him here because he's supposed to go 3 steps and then get vertical. The only way he's getting the ball is inside pressure, and he knows that. At the same time, I always tell the guys, hey, look, we got to do whatever we can at all costs to catch the football. And this is one of those games where we did just about everything wrong. Threw 3 picks and fumbled it twice. So you're not going to win a lot of games doing that. But as you can see, you know, we do have that bail coverage. We can't throw it out there. Okay, so not sure what he signaled out here to the field yet, but pre-snap, okay, we're getting pressed up here. The Casey combination probably isn't great, especially with how low this guy is. So he is off the hash. So if he worked outside, I wouldn't be super mad at him. But where he's pretty low, it's probably more of a quarters look, a man look back here. So we want to work the field. Yep, that's what he does. Okay, now this is where you get away with things when you have incredible arm strengths. So I see he's throwing to the inside guy here because he's going to tell me, hey, coach, he was blitzing, which he wasn't. But that's where it kind of gets tricky. So we always tell our guys, hey, take the outside throw. It's just cleaner and easier unless, and that unless is typically you're sure you're getting blitz. And that kind of just takes it out of their hands so you don't get in no man's land. Or you can just go get a quarterback that can rip the ball and makes you all look good. All right, so this right here, we're getting a bear front. So we know that this guy's all the way down here. So if we look out and we're getting cover 1, we're going to tell those guys, hey, look for levels. So we're telling the quarterback, look for levels. So right here, we know we're getting man coverage here, manned up. manned up, manned up. So if we got hitches, you want to take the guy that's off. So obviously you're pressed up here. We're going to get a hat route converted out here. This guy's off coverage. So as long as we just drive and pop open, we should be open. Same thing here. Man coverage levels. Pre-snap, we're going to have the inside hitch. All right, this is us trying to get too cute. So Lafayette, they just played back. I mean, they were this is Lehigh. I've never seen a team play so far off. So we were trying to get a one-on-one matchup with our running back here. So we just tagged it with a wheel, where the running back's going to wheel out. We probably should have just, we got the OTB wide open. Usually when you tag things, quarterbacks get locked onto them. Oh, I guess he was smart. This one worked out for us. Marquez making us look good. All right, so that's pretty much what we do in quick game here at Sacred Heart. There are a couple. We have a few more concepts that if you guys have questions on, we can go through. But like I said, we just try to keep it really, really simple and make sure that we're repping the hell out of things and making sure that our guys are really good at it. And it's proven to work. But our whole philosophy is quick game. Like I said, get to your depth, catch the football, and just take what they give you. And I think Coach Gardner does a really good job of explaining that to the quarterbacks. And we're not trying to reinvent the wheel or do anything overly complicated. Just get the ball out of your hands and make sure that we're kind of all on the same page. I don't know what the time frame is, but I can go through some RPO stuff if people want to as well.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, Coach, if you don't mind taking a few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so much like our quick game, our RPO stuff is very, very simple. We have our perimeter. See if I can find it here. We have our perimeter RPOs, and then we have our interior RPO. So we have Zorro, it's just a now screen where the inside receiver, is going to block the corner. We get your regular bubble where we have, the Z blocking for the inside receiver. With bubble, so booty is a pre-snap read. So that tells the quarterback once the ball is snapped, you're either there's no read. So it's like pre-snap, I look out, okay, I'm getting off coverage, I'm going to throw the bubble. Or, hey, I look out, I'm getting the zone coverage, I'm going to hand the ball off. Whatever it is, but that's what booty is. Bubble is RPO, so it's a post-snap read. So that's when he's going to look at the SAM. It's really a numbers game. So if we got 3 guys out there and they only got 2 defenders, then we'll throw it out there. Otherwise, we're just kind of gonna give it and go. When in doubt, hand the ball off. Our running back's our best player, so we don't even try to overly complicate that. The one thing I will say here is it's always the furthest inside receiver. So if we're 3-by-1, they always know that the Y is the one that's going to be running the bubble. If we're 2-by-2, they always know the S is going to be running the bubble. And then the backside run side, they're always blocking for the run. So I tell these guys here with MDM is, and and I got this from Coach Bash at Colgate, is he always talks about, how do I know, people go push crack, drive the corner off, work the safety. He goes, hey, you're responsible for 1A and 1B. So you have both the corner and the safety. Be decisive and block the one you think is the most dangerous threat. I always tell my guys, when in doubt, block the corner and we'll run away from the safety. Again, that's kind of just based on your philosophy, but that's kind of what's been working for us. Sugar, we don't run a lot, don't really know. I guess it's in there if we get cover 2. So if we get, the Sam linebacker is really tight onto number 3, the corner's outside and the safety's way back, then we'll throw it because we feel like we can get leverage on the Sam with the Y. And it's just like flip that thing out there and go. It hasn't really been great for us. We typically just keep it to Zorro and Bubble. And then mask for us is just a way to, it's really, mask for us is really just an empty screen for us. And it's really more of an RPO. For mask, we tell our quarterbacks, get your eyes on the mic. If the mic pushes to the field, we're going to throw the boundary screen. If the mic is tucked in or works the boundary, then we're going to work the slant concept. And that's going to be the same thing. If he blitzes, we'll take the inside slant. If he pushes this way, we'll take the outside slant. If he pushes it that way, we're gonna take it that just to keep the number. So the mask is always going to be the running back motions up and out. He's going to kick the corner out. The Y has the next most dangerous, whether it's the will linebacker or the free safety. And then we tell the X, stay inside the A's block and get back outside. Okay, this is just another look at Bubble Booty. Okay, gas and glance are inside RPOs. So gas is always speaking to the 2 receiver side. It's basically a glance by the inside. So a glance is a deep slant. With our Z and our S play with their outside foot up. Our X plays with his inside foot up. So with your outside foot up, the S is going to have a 4-step slant. So he's going to work vertical. Now he's got the same rules as any other slant. You can flatten to win. But what I tell those guys is to stare at the safety, run right at him, keep your shoulders down, and then break that thing off at a 45. If you're getting, with the gas, if you're getting one high, you want to flatten that thing off. So I'm like, okay, if you're pushing at that guy and all of a sudden he rolls down to you, chances are you're getting one high coverage. So flatten off to protect yourself. But the quarterback really should protect you. So it can be as complicated or as simple as you want to get with this. But all we're doing here is we're getting our eyes on the overhang, okay, the Sam linebacker. If he comes, we're going to throw it. If he stays out there, we're going to give it. When in doubt, give. Okay, we're blocking on the backside. Now, we used to run a go here to clear the safety out or clear the corner out. And Matt and I were talking, and it's like, hey, look, put that as a now route in case the quarterback, messes up and gets stuck in that no man's land. So I'll show you a clip from when we played Bucknell that Sam was coming in and then going back, and he was kind of messing with him. So we put that now route in. So it's like, hey, look, if you all of a sudden you're ready to pull that thing and throw, and you see that guy drifting back into the window, then you can kind of hitch up and dump it out there. So at least we're not throwing picks. When in doubt in that situation, throw it away. But it was just an easy way for us to kind of get the ball out to our Z, and that guy can kind of run a little bit. But again, all we're doing here is getting our eyes on the Sam. If he comes, boom, pull it and throw it. If not, then we're going to give it. Okay, glance is our boundary RPO. Now, like I said, our X plays with his inside foot up, so it's going to be 5th step or 3rd outside. And I tell him, glance is probably going to be a little bit flatter, and he's going to need to be a little bit better of a route runner necessarily than the gas is. And that's just being because the safeties are a little bit more agile than a Sam linebacker. So all we're doing here is we're reading the safety. So the quarterback's just going to catch the football. If the safety's coming down, we're going to throw it. If they roll strong to the field, we're going to throw it. Anything else, we're going to give it. And we try and keep it simple. And we tell those guys flatten to win. Okay? And then the last one is just peak. Peak is I've never in my I don't know how long I've been here, 2-3 years. We've never thrown the bubble on this. It's always this, okay? And all we're doing is we're reading the mic, okay? If the mic comes, we're going to pull the ball, and we tell this guy here, we call it a basketball route. Basically, he's just going to, like, drive out for 3 steps at the hash and then just turn and kind of like you're catching the outlet for basketball. So just kind of getting upfield, finding that window in space. If you have a guy that just really doesn't understand that concept, just say, hey, look, jog to the hash and look back after 3 steps. And that'll get him wide enough to stay away from the mic. The Sam linebacker should be taken care of with this. If not, he's just going to have to be tough when he catches it. But, it's another good one for us. I'm not sure if I have. Let's see if I can find it here. Okay, so typically with Zorro, Bubble, Booty, Sugar, our perimeter RPOs, we typically pair them with inside zone. All right, and that's just to create a numbers game. So if we have 5 in the box, we're going to run it. If there's 6 in the box, all right, throw it out there. And we just keep it simple. So it's just with our inside zone to keep the numbers there. Gas and glance. So gas, first with gas, we typically like to run that with counter coming to the Sam. Again, putting him into a bind. With glance, we typically like to run that with counter coming to the safety or split zone where we're creating an extra gap. Again, just trying to put pressure on those guys. So glance is split zone or counter at the Sam. Gas is typically always counter. Sometimes we'll do it with outside zone at the Sam linebacker. And then our perimeter screens are just inside zone. It's just a purely based off of numbers thing. So here we got Booty. We're running it out a bunch. Again, 3 for 3. We got a 6-man box. So quarterback knows pre-snap. He's throwing it out here to number 3. Okay, we don't have enough guys to block in the box. We're 3 for 3. Boom. Okay. The reason why we like to run Booty out a bunch sometimes, and I think the reason why we did it against Maine, is they do a really good job playing their quarters. So we feel like we get better angles when this guy's widened out. So we can go boom and then kick him out. And this guy's a little bit deeper. So that's the reason why we did it here. Now, one thing that's you have to take the ability to run out of your guys' hands, in my opinion, with this play. Okay, because every kid in this generation grew up on Madden. And every kid has seen, the who is it? They call it the circle button. What the hell was his name? Braxton Miller, I think, from Ohio State, who hit that spin move on Virginia Tech. Everybody's seen that, so they all think that they're that. So you take the ability to run out of their hands with Bubble and Booty. So I tell those guys, your aiming point is 7 yards at the sideline, and you need to run around everybody. Okay, 7 yards at the sideline. Okay, because really what they need to do here is run away from the safety. They need to beat the safety. And we don't care. All we're trying to do is get 3 or 4 yards on this. So I tell them, hey, if you hit the sideline at 7 yards and you're still going, then you can do whatever the hell you want. But it's 7 yards to the sideline. All right. One thing here, and again, this is based on the philosophy with my receivers, I always tell them to set up on the outside, even if it's an inside run. And people go, oh, and I go back and forth. Matt will yell at me all the time. Well, if it's an inside run, you got to set up on the inside. Look, everybody, their job, especially with outside wide receivers, the corner's job is to set the outside gap. So he's going to work back there. And if he works inside, well, then you can, flip your hips and at Springfield, we learned steel rod and wash them down. Okay, so you can push them down inside there and then get outside. But I always tell our guys, it's just easier. I think stock blocking is the hardest thing to teach wide receivers. One, because it's the last thing that they probably want to do. And two, because you're in space. So I just tell them, hey, get that guy's shoulder on the middle of your chest and then work him down inside. If he takes the inside, trap him down in there. Okay, so we're just going to catch 7 yards to the sideline. We got the numbers, boom, and go. Two by two, obviously we have, we're 2 for 2 here on the perimeter. 1, 2, we're working MDM blocking here, okay? We're just gonna flip this thing out here. Okay, again, it's just a numbers game. All right, we got a 6-man box again, just flip this thing out here. Now we have the tight end in here. So this might be, I'm not sure if this is bubble or booty, this might be bubble. So if this is bubble, again, like I said, booty is pre-snap, so it's just based on the numbers read. Bubble, now we're reading the Sam linebacker here. So it looks like it's probably bubble because we have the tight end blocking, which gives us 6 for 6. Yeah, and then you just flip it out. Now the Z is wrong here. This kid, my philosophy with man coverage is, take him to the hot dog stand. So I think that's what he's doing here. This kid was really good at catching touchdown passes, and he was a good and able blocker, but sometimes the reading of coverages and conceptual things were not his strength. What I would like him to do here with man coverage is, knowing that it's a bubble, is to go 2 for 1 and make sure that we're driving down in here onto the safety once we get this guy far enough away from the line of scrimmage. Okay, but this is what happens when guys try to be runners. Just catch the damn ball, 7 yards to the sideline, and you can dance later. We still get 4 or 5 yards, but I'd like him to just stop dancing around. Don't waste anybody's time. Just get there, catch the ball, and go. Yeah, this looks like bubble too. We're running with counter. Okay, so our eyes are on the Sam right here. All right. He fills, flip it out, 7 yards to the sideline. Now, right here, okay, RJ, he's easily the best blocking wide receiver I've ever been around. So he was really good at being decisive. So right here, we're driving this guy off. He's bailing. He's clearly driving. I said, hey, look, at about 5-6 yards, you got to make your choice. You can't chase these guys all the way around the field. But 5-6 yards, settle down, keep your shoulders square, and take the one you feel most dangerous. So he commits to the corner, which is good. Again, Troy does a good job here, catching 7 yards to the sideline. All right. So right here, if he tried to dance, we might have a 1 yard game, but where he's just sprinting 7 yards to the sideline, boom, we get 4 out of it. Oh, this is a stupid idea. Again, us being too cute, bubble up. So bubble up tells these guys to fake like they're switch blocking right here on the outside. So he should be pressing up here. He should be going up here. And they don't buy it, so it doesn't work out too good for us. Troy should press back in and not be so soft, but okay. So I'm not quite sure what he's doing here with this. With this Mike linebacker walked out so far, he should just hand this thing off. Okay. Logan was one of those guys that if you gave him an RPO, chances are he was going to choose the pass. He'd like to sling it around the yard. But where this guy is so far walked out here, we're 5 for 5 here. We should just hand this thing off. That works out for us. Okay, so this is Zorro. So, Zorro was the one where we have the now screen here, and then we're blocking MDM with the inside guy. 99% of the time we run Zorro out of bunch. And the reason being is because you get fantastic angles. So if you're getting I tell the point man, he's going to take most dangerous. So if you got a guy on the point, this is how we're going to block it. Okay. So we got the point right here. He's going to drive at his outside shoulder and try and get him to turn. He should go to behind him, put his hand on his hip, get him to turn, and then work to the corner outside. So that's how we're blocking if we get a point guy. If we were to get a look like more of a triangle where there's a guy outside, a guy inside, and a guy over the top, he's got outside, he's got inside, he's got to win. So that's how we handle that. Like I told you, this was a tempo play for us. Again, he was better at catching touchdowns than learning plays, but he should be going here, and he should be working around here. All right, bubble. Okay, it's pretty easy here. We get pressure, sling it out there. Okay, so Troy does a nice job here. So when we MDM, okay, we always tell these guys, no matter who you're taking, never turn your shoulders because you're immediately setting the edge and doing the defense's job for them, or you're making, you're dictating to the ball carrier where he's going to go. So we should always keep our shoulders square. So Troy does a pretty good job here of keeping his shoulders square. All right, Zorro again. Okay, so this is that more of that triangle look. We got a guy inside, a guy outside, and a guy over the top. Okay, so the point's got the outside, inside guy's got the inside, and it's our job to be the guy over the top. Okay. All right, so the first one's gas. Again, we typically run this, like I said, with counter coming to it. You can also run it with power. Again, all we're trying to do is you can run it with split zone. You really can. All you're trying to do is you're trying to create that extra gap coming towards that Sam to put him in a bind. So right here, we're telling our guy, okay, catch the football, get your eyes on the Sam. All right, if he's coming, we're throwing it. Otherwise, we're handing the ball off. All right, 4-step slant here. You got your now route, and then we're blocking. If it's man coverage, you can run him off. Right? Okay, so here we're doing it with power. One back power. That guy hesitates. He sits out there. Okay, just going to hand that ball off. It's probably a good idea here because we're way too short with our route. 2-step slant. This kid, this is his first game, I think, ever playing number 12. So he might have been a little tight. But that's why it needs to be a 4-step slant. It can't be a 3-step slant. It has to be 4 or 5. I would say if you guys play with your inside foot up, then you can just make both the gassy and the glance a 5-step. It's really just based on preference. But you can't, you don't want to get any deeper than that. So we, on some of our routes, we get, okay, we used to be depth on our deep routes, steps on our underneath routes, and it's now kind of, I'm slowly converting it all to steps. And the reason being is because, especially on a route like this, if you give a guy a landmark of, hey, we're going to run this at 8 yards, well, he's going to be looking at that and he's got to get his head around versus, you know, as you're doing the circle drill and as you're working these routes through your routes on air, it's that rhythm of 1, 2, 3, 4, turn. So it's really important, in my opinion, with RPOs to do steps. All right, so here, the Sam is super left out, so chances are pre-snap we kind of know we're not getting it, but still we want to do 4 steps. We got our now, if we get bailed out, we got our vertical. Here, running it with counter coming away from it. Okay, again, with that guy that far walked out, chances are we're just going to be handing it off anyway. It's got to be because I'm not quite sure why we were doing it with counter away there. I think maybe just because they set their 3 shade to the boundary. But typically we like to run counter at him. There we go. We're doing it again. That's got to be why. All right, so you see how far this Sam linebacker's walked up. I always tell that guy if he's head up, or to just inside or just outside, chances are you're not getting the football. We still want to stay outside of that to get him to try and get hands on and turn away from the run. Just wanted to show you that run because this kid's pretty damn good. He makes us look smart a lot. I don't know how the hell we got him. He was the 3rd leading rusher in the nation this year, so you can do a lot when you got that kid. All right, so here again, Nas, he should be going outside here. We're getting what we call vice coverage, or basically they're manning up outside and they're playing a small palms cover 2 inside here. So he should be pushing outside, again, to get him to turn and keep his eyes off the run. So I don't love that by him. Luckily, again, like I said, when you have one of the best players in the nation get bailed out. Okay, so sorry I don't have any clips of that actually working. I feel like I did. Hold on, maybe they might be. There we go. I know we ran the shit out against Bucknell. Okay, there we go. All right, so Nassim does a really good job here of just 1, 2, 3, 4, watching. He gets his eyes on that safety and pushes him all the way off, and then he just break it off. Okay, again, we're running counter to the Sam to put him in a bind. If he chooses to come up and fill that extra gap, boom, we're just gonna stick that thing behind him. Okay, here it is again. Counter coming to him. Okay, this is that no man's land that I was talking about here. Okay, so we probably could have fit that thing up and over, but where this guy is, here, I'll show it to you from there. I don't know if you can see it from this angle. He didn't feel comfortable with the throw. So see how he starts to come and then he, drifts back in the window. The best way to avoid this is to tell your quarterback, if that Sam is not blitzing or running his ass at the line of scrimmage, hand the damn ball off, okay? Because this is the scariest situation, because then you're on the sideline holding your breath. The kid doesn't know exactly what to do. That's why we put that now screen out there. Unfortunately, this is like the worst of all situations here because he pulled it. Kezio's got the Z has the man coverage on him, and so now he's going to scramble and throw it away, okay? Throw it away, Logan. Jesus. Okay, so when in doubt, obviously throw that thing away, but that's why we had that now screen in there. Okay, so that's gas. Okay, so that's how we manipulate the second level to the field. Now, let me just go through glance first. The next one's glance, okay? So this is our outside deep slants where we're trying to read the safeties. Like I said, typically we run either counter or split zone to the glance. And for us, we always tag who we want to run it. So that way it just keeps it clean. Gas is always, the S and the Z, they always know it's the field. It's got 2x2 concept. Everybody, like, we're good with that. But the glance, we can actually run Z glance too if we get into 12 personnel. Or if we wanted to run, just run it as a route in general because we like the matchup and we think we can win with our glances because we don't convert them, then we'll tag it as well. But if there's a run play involved with it, our quarterbacks know that glance is the RPO. So there you go here. Okay, so pre-snap, our quarterback here is just going to get his eyes on the boundary safety. All right, if he rolls to the field, he can throw that slant. If he fills the gap, he can throw that slant. If he does anything else, hand the ball off. Okay, so here he's pretty deep. His alignment's pretty deep. He's at 12 yards to begin with. So chances are there's going to be a handoff all the way. But either way, like I said, we don't convert these with our receivers. Now, what I'll tell you out there is we had a really good kid into the boundary this year, so that's probably one of the reasons why we didn't convert it. If you are a believer in not converting it, you have to win inside, and you can't get pushed down. So if you don't have a very strong kid out there, then I would just tell them, and we may end up doing this year as well, is just converting it to a fade and back shouldering them if you get man coverage. If you don't feel comfortable with any of that stuff, then probably shouldn't run it. All right, so here we look out, we see the safety's pretty low. So pre-snap, if that safety's low, we're thinking he's probably going to help fill on the run. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to throw that thing. But again, you never guess, always make the decision post-snap. Okay, here he comes down, feels pretty aggressively, pretty easy read. Again, flatten to win. They don't call pass interference in the NEC ever. So I tell my guys it's their job to use their technique. I know defensive guys love hearing that. Offensive guys, you're with me. Some BS. All right, so right here, the receiver here, this is why we have to flatten it off and have the quarterback protect us, because this kid, and again, I think this was his second game ever, or it might have been his first game ever. When you drift back here, that's a damn near impossible throw because the corner gets underneath it. So you have to flatten it and trust the quarterback to protect you from the other safety. And he really shouldn't be able to get there in time to begin with. But as you can see here, he kind of cuts him off, and it's a really hard throw for your quarterback now. And a dangerous one, especially if you got a guy that's pretty confident in himself and he's going to try to fit that in there like our kid was. And this thing could just be going the other way in a hurry. So we always tell them, when in doubt, flatter. Okay. So with this game right here, we really liked our matchup with this kid on their safety. So we would set the formation into the boundary here just to give him a lot of space to work with this, because they pretty much played the same defense regardless. They didn't play like a field or boundary defense. It was a strength, or strong and weak, basically. So if you get a team to do that, what we tell our guy is when our X aligns to the field, or any single receiver to the field that's out there by himself, he's hash +4. With the wider hashes in high school, you could probably stick him right on the hash, or just outside the hash. But it's a really good way right here to avoid having to worry about that backside safety getting involved, or to really clean the read up for the quarterback. Because there's a lot of space out there, so they have to declare the coverage a lot sooner. Okay, Stacy stays back. I swear to God, we throw a couple of these. This is like our number 1 RPO this year. No, this is not. You must have changed the play. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, this is one of the things that I tell these guys. You see how far inside this guy's drifting? So the first thing I would do is I tell him on glance he can widen the middle of numbers or the outside of the numbers. Not so much to give it away that he's going to have an inside breaking route, just to give him enough room. 2, if you're going to release inside, you better get back outside right now. He's washed himself so far down inside here, and now the safety can play too. So that's what you got to be careful about. So if you're not comfortable with him, you don't think there's a guy that can win inside, and he's getting a lot of press coverage, just turn it to a vertical route, and if he pulls it down, 50-50 ball, give the guy a chance. And he also needs to flatten this out to protect the quarterback's throw, because again, like I said, if you give Logan, if you give him PO at the end of anything, he's probably going to pull it and throw. Okay, this is pretty much the exact look that you want to run this. Okay, off quarters into the boundary with this guy having to come up and fill. We're running this with it's our G seam or pin and pull. Basically, we're pulling the it's a single puller, the play side guard. We're just wrapping around. So if he comes to fill the extra gap, throwing it behind his head, he does that here. We do a good job being strong and flat at the top of our route. Okay, it's an easy pitch and catch. They can't tackle, so it's a free touchdown.
Hey, Coach, we got a few minutes left here. You want to open it up to some questions before we close it down?
Yeah.
You guys want to come on and turn on your cameras or mics or whatever and ask Coach questions? Go ahead.
Hey, Clements.
Hey.
Not bad for a single wing quarterback from Gorham, Maine, huh?
Hey, not too bad. Single wing, we were double. I was the lead blocker, baby.
What the hell that shit was? I didn't call it an offense. Nice job, man.
Thank you.
I didn't think you knew that much.
I didn't think I know either.
Why is he not show up? Good job, brother.
Thank you.
That's good stuff.
Thank you.
Coach Lit, did you have a question? You put it up in the chat. I don't know if we got it.
I can't remember. Oh yeah. You had that 3x1 Sally A shoot, and you said that if that linebacker's like kind of out of the box, like anticipating that all. I didn't know if you ever like ran it. I know Jimbo Fisher at Florida State was the first, like to just have number 3 block that guy. From that kind of behind the line. I don't know if you guys ever did anything like that. Because we used to throw that a lot. Teams would do the same thing. They bring them like back out of the box, and sometimes 3 receivers sometimes is the world's greatest blocker on an inside out running linebacker. But I didn't know if that was something you guys did or how you accounted for that. Run the quarterback or what did you do?
So we do. So if we really, really want to throw that route, then we call it docking, and we'll have that number 3 receiver going and block the mic physically.
Yeah.
Now the thing is with that is that the running back has to stay behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
So like that's a really hard catch for that guy to stay behind the scrimmage, catch it, and then be able to turn.
Right.
So we'll just call it if with Juju number 7, he's an All-American, so we can run it with that kid.
Right.
If it's we have another kid, Malik, who's a freshman, who's a little bit stiff, we'll just flare him, and that's how we kind of handle that.
Yeah. And my other one, it looks like you'll run those glance and gas routes with the quarterback opening away from the read. So like the running backs coming. Yeah. So like that's it. Do you have problems with that, or do you feel like they kind of pre-snap it if the back's coming from the other way? They anticipate that safety in the blocks, or is that something you guys just wrap up a ton where his eyes are on a safety with the back coming from the other direction?
So I'll be completely honest with you. Our quarterback was really special. That's why he was able to do that. He was able to flip his hips and get the ball out. You have to have a special type of release to do that. So you saw the 2 quarterbacks, 13. Number 13, he played 4 years at Temple, and he's from Connecticut, wanted to transfer home to play. And we had 32 NFL teams in here looking at him. So I would say that if you have a guy that you think can get the ball out of his hands quickly, then yeah, it's doable because it takes a while, boom, to flip back here and get the ball out. We probably won't do it with Marquez because he doesn't get it out as quickly. The other thing about Logan is if you have a guy that you feel like really understands what the hell the concept means and what we're trying to do. So Logan loved reading safeties. So he was so good at them. He knew what they were doing right away. So if you have a guy that has a grasp for that, then you can start working some of that stuff. To be honest, it's not something that we had to rep the shit out of. He just he kind of was able to do it.
Got it. Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate it. It's really good stuff. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coach Goff, you get something down there?
Yes, sir. Coach, do you ask all of your receivers to learn all of the receiver positions?
No, not at first. I always tell my guys. So first of all, I don't mess with the X at all. So our X is our dude, our best player. Like he's our dude. So it's slant, comeback, go. Once they have those 3 mastered, we'll start working in different routes and moving them around. But for them, I keep it very, very simple. The S is the one that has to learn a bunch of different things because that's typically a smarter guy and he's got to get guys lined up. But I tell him just to learn their position first and then to go from there. But a lot of our guys at this point do. So one of the ways that I make them learn things quickly is I have about 20 guys in my room. So I'll have like the first group of or I'll have like a group of Z's, and like the 1Z has to be with the 2S, has to be with the 3X, and they're one team. And then the next team might be with the 1X, the 1S and the 3Z. Whatever it is, the 1s are responsible for the 2's answers. The 2's answers, they're responsible for the 3's answers, and I put them up on the whiteboard. So if like the 2Z, if we got Jess and he puts up an out route and he's wrong, then I dock points from the 1Z, not the 2Z. And it kind of keeps them like, competitive with each other, and they kind of learn things quick. But